Hey beauty babes, welcome to my channel. I am Maria, aka Agape Love Girl. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm back with a brand new gimmick or great video, and today I'm going to be testing the Microfiber makeup sponge. So I actually first heard about this sponge in a makeup group I'm in on Facebook, and I happened to catch a conversation where someone posted a picture of this and was like, best makeup tool ever, like it's my holy grail now, it's replacing all my brushes and sponges. And I was like, wait, what is that? It looks so weird, because like the photo of it, like you can see, it was kind of furry, it looked interesting, and so I opened up the comments and read. A lot of people were like, yes, I love this, it's so good and all that stuff, and I was like, I've never heard of this sponge before, and I thought it must be pretty new. I haven't heard or seen any reviews on it, but I did just now today look up the name of it and the brand and search it in YouTube just to see, like, you know, I'm sure there has to be some reviews on it, and just to see how old it was. And the oldest videos I could find were about 5 months ago. So I would say, I'm gonna assume that it's around 5 or so months new or old, however you want to put it. So you guys, I don't know if you guys have heard anything about this, but I certainly hadn't. But based on that conversation, because it was a new beauty tool and it was super intriguing to me, I decided I'm going to purchase it. So I did follow the link, and it comes from a brand called JUNO & Co. And they carry a few other beauty tools and beauty items and stuff like that, and they're all really affordable. Now what's really interesting is that these sponges are just $4. Like, that's super cheap. Also, you can get bundles, which is what I decided to do. The bundle I got came with 2 sponges, and then it also came with this kind of like a color switch kind of thing. It's called, let me see, brush off brush cleaner. So it looks like this. It's the first time I'm opening it. So I've always wanted one of those kind of things, but I'm too cheap to buy the like Veramona one. So I was excited when I saw that there was a bundle for 2 of the sponges and one of these. I was like, yes, please, I will take that. So I got 2 of the sponges and that cleaner, and my total was $12.60, and that's fairly cheap. So when I got the package, it comes packaged really nicely like this, and then it has on here beauty products starting at just $1. When you open it up, it says, hello gorgeous. So the packaging is really, oh, excuse me, the packaging is really cute. Everything comes sealed in like these Ziploc bags, like as you saw me pull out that brush cleaner. And I'll insert some footage of the brushes up close before they've been used while they were clean. And it also comes with like this little thing here. This little booklet that says stop overpaying for makeup, JUNO & Co. And then it says, hello gorgeous, yay, we know you're going to love everything in it. Looking forward to seeing your amazing looks. We believe that beauty should be accessible for all. If you believe that too, don't forget to tag us at JUNO Beauty Co. And then it opens up and it shows their microfiber fusion sponge for $4, and it says I'm a big fan brush, that is $2, and then the smartest makeup mirror ever. Interesting. So it's got that. So I'm assuming those are some of their other products, and then on the back has their Instagram and little shop code thing there. Alright, moving on, because I know you guys are probably more interested in learning about the sponge, not just the packaging, but I just figured it would be nice to share that. You know, it's nice to know how products arrive and how, you know, well they are packaged and things like that. I find that important and interesting, so I figured I'd include it. Also, it shipped really fast. Let me see if I can remember when I ordered this. Oh, well, that would make sense. They're in San Francisco, so it got to me in like 2 or 3 days. Like, it got to me super quick. San Francisco is only like 3 hours away from me, so that would make sense. But either way, they ship out quickly, so there's that. Anyways, let's move along here. I will have a demo of these sponges in action. I'm going to show you how they work wet and dry. I will say I did have a little boo-boo with them, with one of them, because I wanted to try this out before filming a video on it and before doing a demo, because I didn't want to just, I kind of didn't want to, this is still, I feel like, a first impressions, but I didn't want to like do a first impressions where I like had no idea what I was doing, because I don't always find that helpful. So I want to kind of try it first and then try it again for you guys and tell you guys my thoughts and let you know if I think this is a gimmick or if it's great. And I will tell you, the first time I used it, I was like, this sucks. And I'll talk a little bit more about this as I go into the demo, because I realized some things, like reading the instructions is important. But so I won't say it all here, you'll hear that later. So I was thinking, oh no, I'm gonna do this video and I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but I was really trying to be open. I decided to use a different foundation, and also decided to read the instructions, so that helped a little bit. So yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention is, like I said, I had a little boo-boo with it. The downside of this, the major downside of this, is it's very, very hard to wash. It's very hard to wash. That's why this one has a little gouge. I am going to try to wash this one a little bit differently now, because I don't want to do this. I wasn't expecting that would happen. But I tried washing this like I normally would my other makeup sponges and brushes with like a makeup brush soap. That wasn't making the makeup budge at all. I wasn't getting it off. So I decided to wash it with a dish soap. That helped a little bit and was getting it clean a little bit better, but it still was like stuck in the microfiber. So what I was doing was like kind of scraping like this, trying to wash it and scrape it, and when I scraped it, I scraped a chunk out of it. So that's my fault that I washed it so harshly, but even still, after I did that and washed it and it worked better with the dish soap, it still wasn't fully clean. So I don't know if maybe there's a better way to wash these, and I just need to be more careful. Normally I would never scrape a sponge like that, but I was like, get clean, you know. I was kind of like, I want this to be clean for the video, and it wasn't happening. So I'm going to wash this one, and I'll probably insert an update at the end of this video about how well that went. Also, these are just $4, so I'm not super mad that I ruined it. I mean, it's kind of a bummer. You don't want to like use a product once and then it get ruined and you can't use it again, but at the same time it's $4, so it's not a huge loss. Also, it was still usable. I used this one today the most and it was still fine. But yeah, that is one downside of this product that I want to get out in the open. So with all that being said, I know this is a super long intro. I don't know if this still counts as an intro, but lots of things to say and information. So I apologize for making it long, but let's go ahead and get into the demo now. Alright, so I already have my eyes done. As you can see, I'm actually in the middle of filming 2 other videos, filming 3 at a time, all interchangeably. So if you like this look, there will be a tutorial on it, probably already by the time this video goes live. I'll have it linked. As well, I'm doing a review on the stamp crease, which is why I've got this intense cut crease going on. So if you haven't seen that, I'll link that as well for you guys to check out if you're interested. But today you're here to hear about the Microfiber beauty sponge. So we're going to be testing that out. I have used this already once before. I'll most likely have already talked about that in the intro, so I'm gonna just keep this brief. But this is the one I haven't used. The other one that I have already used, I'm gonna be using wet, because I want to demonstrate both ways, so you see which way is better. But here's what it looks like dry, and here's the wet one. So as you can see, it does get bigger. It is a little bit more squishy, a little bit more moldable. I don't know if that's the right word, whereas this one's a little bit more dense. So we're going to try both of them. This one I'm going to be using the outer side just because I did tear this portion, whereas this one I'm probably going to be using this flat side because that's probably what I would more prefer to use. But since I tore this, I don't want to like mess up the way it would apply because there's a piece missing, so I'm going to use this since it's the microfiber furry side. Now I do already have my face primed with the Touch and Soul no problem no problem primer, and for foundation I'm going to be using the Rimmel London Lasting Finish 25-hour foundation. I chose to use this one because when I first tried to use these sponges I used a more thicker foundation and I don't feel it worked very well. This is one of the thinnest foundations I have. It's very lightweight, so I'm going to give it a try today with this foundation. I am going to be doing one side at a time, one side with a dry sponge and one side with the wet sponge, just so we can kind of compare and see how they work and which way it works better. So according to the instructions that it comes with, it says use it dry to apply loose powders. You could also apply blush and highlighters. So you apply the dry products with the sponge dry, and then it says use it wet, used to apply liquid foundations, and so use it to apply concealers and contouring. I wonder if the first time I used this, because the first time I used it with the thicker foundation like I said. I actually did go into it without reading the instructions first. My bad. And I used it dry first. And so I wonder if maybe that's why there were a little bit of issues and I didn't like it as well. So I'm kind of nervous now to actually try it dry. But I feel like what I read reason why I got this is because, you know, I heard a lot of people talking about, or read that a lot of people were kind of talking about it in a makeup group and saying they loved it and you don't have to use it wet and da da da. So I thought, oh, you could use it dry. So at my own expense, I am going to still use it dry with a liquid foundation just to see how it applies, because it's supposed to be kind of like a brush with the microfiber, which you could use wet products or liquid products with a brush, but also the functionality of a sponge. I don't know. So I'm going to test it. It's only $4, so it's not like it's, if I ruin another one, it's like, you know, a huge expense to me. But I just want to see it again with a lighter foundation to see how it works. And then I might also try it maybe with this other side, using it with some loose powders as well. So anyways, that's enough of my rambling. I just want to get that out of the way because I decided to actually look at the instructions like I should before getting started. But I'm going to go ahead and start off first with the wet sponge. Now I don't think I said it, but the shade I'm going to be using for this foundation is Soft Beige. I do have two, which I normally use both of them, but I kind of feel like this lighter one is just suiting me a little bit better. Oh, I also read that it said apply a dime size amount to the back of your hand, then start application. So it says don't use too much the first time, so oops. I just read that and here I go in with the full, I'm sorry. I'm messing up this review. I'm so sorry. But we're just gonna work with it. We're gonna roll with the punches here. So this is the wet sponge. We're gonna go with it. Okay, this is not bad. So I don't feel like I used too much. Again, like I said, this was my lightest foundation. That's probably why. And that's probably why the other one didn't do well, because it was, like I said, a very thicker foundation and I used this dry. I'm really impressed, actually. Oh my goodness. When I first tried to use it again, I hadn't read the instructions. I was like, this is a disaster. This is a mess. I don't know if I'm going to like it, but I was like, I need to give this a try again. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Literally, I feel like my makeup went on like almost airbrush and super quickly. Did you see that? Like super quickly. What? Oh my gosh, I'm kind of nervous now to try the other side with the dry because it works so much better with the wet. I just want to mention is that it's weird, like with it wet, I feel like, okay, like I said, this is still more dense and this is more squishy, but it almost like with this microfiber over the sponge, it almost feels like it still has like this skin over it that like makes it almost not as maneuverable as like a regular sponge would be. So I feel like it's kind of like, I don't know, I feel like it feels like it wouldn't work well or really like do anything, but it is. Oh my gosh, I'm like seriously so impressed. Oh wow, it looks so pretty. Okay, oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm really impressed. And this one, for this end, I'm just gonna dot it on, since it said not to use too much product, and I am gonna use this one dry, so I'm just gonna dot just like a little bit of product. Oh Lord. Okay, this isn't bad. This isn't as bad as like when I first used it. Okay, and this blends so quickly. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you guys probably can't see on camera, but I'm looking up close and I feel like it almost makes my skin even look smoother too. Like the way it's applying is so unique and different than like a brush or an actual sponge, a typical sponge would, because they all somewhat leave streaks or marks on your skin. They're not super noticeable, but I mean, if that makes sense. But the way this is like, it's like a velvet, like, so it applies so much softer. Okay, but again, this side didn't get much coverage because I only put a little bit on. So I'm going to put a little bit more on. I might just switch over to going ahead to using the wet sponge just because that worked really well. But, you know, you can definitely use it dry. Oh my gosh, it feels so nice. Oh my gosh, I'm really, like, really impressed. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more on because I definitely do need some more coverage. I'm just going to go ahead and go in with the wet sponge. Funny thing is that even though it's still wet, like, it doesn't feel wet. Like, if I really press, I can get a little bit of moisture coming through that, like, that microfiber skin. But it actually feels pretty dry to my face. Like, I don't feel moisture coming in and kind of pulling up foundation or absorbing a lot of the foundation, which is probably why they said, like, don't use too much, because this probably won't absorb as much foundation as, say, a regular sponge would. Alright, this did a really good job. I'm much more impressed than the very first time I tried it. So glad I didn't do like a very first impressions and try it for the first time on camera and gave it a little bit more time, and also that I read the instructions, because I would hate to steer you wrong or do the company wrong, you know, by being misinformed and not, you know, not using it the way I'm supposed to. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and try it now with concealer. Again, I'm going to be using the wet one. I'm going to be using my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I'm pretty much like at the tail end of this concealer. I'm just trying to scrape along the side, so it's going to look like I'm using a lot, but really it just thinned out so much, so I have to kind of pack it on a little bit more to really get the coverage that I'm used to with this stuff. Okay, I definitely use too much. Don't need that much. So next eye, other eye, I'm going to be using a lot less. Like, usually with a regular sponge and I use that much of this concealer, like, I'm not getting that full coverage. This is, oh my gosh, really doing me good. Normally with the Shape Tape Concealer, literally I just say put a couple dots on because it has such good coverage, but that's like when you still have a lot. I'm like really have barely anything left in there, so. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful! We'll say it's a little bit tough to kind of get precise up here. I probably should have done my lower lash line after this, because this has that weird kind of like, you know what I'm saying, thing. So I can't, it doesn't have like a point like most other blenders have for me to kind of really get a little bit more precise there, but it's fine. I'll just kind of smoke out my lower lash line after I'm done with doing this. Okay, that is like, that gave me such good coverage, like seriously, and it looks flawless. It looks like airbrushed. Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, I'm really happy with the way this made my foundation and concealer go on. I'm going to show you an up-close shot of my face so you can see. It literally doesn't even look like I'm wearing makeup. Now, keep in mind, this foundation is a medium coverage. It's not full coverage. You could still see some of my blemishes and some of my scars and things like that. My skin is not perfect. So never mind that, but just look. What I want you to see is that, like, you don't see any cakiness. You don't see, I mean, it doesn't look like there's foundation there. I mean, my skin looks better than it did like without foundation, but it doesn't look like I'm wearing any foundation. It almost looks like this is just my skin. And also because this is more of a medium coverage foundation, and my, you know, some of my blemishes showing through it, it looks, I think it gives the illusion of a more natural look, you know. And I'm not, you guys know this or familiar with me, I'm not into super full coverage. I don't care if my blemishes or some things show through, that's fine with me. I prefer that rather than having cakey face or thick foundation. So, but just the fact that, like, you don't even see any foundation in my creases, like nothing, like it's so, it blended it on like flawlessly. I'm very happy with the way this sponge applied my makeup, my foundation and my concealer, and I'm like, I'm pretty impressed by this. So now we're gonna move on, and I'm going to try the dry sponge. I'm going to go back to the dry sponge and try it with some loose setting powder, just to give it a go and see how it applies powder. I don't feel like, because everything went on so lightweight and I didn't use as much, I still feel like I used a lot of product, but feel like, it doesn't feel like I've got a lot of product on. Anyways, my face isn't super like needing to be set, but I'm gonna do it anyways just because as a precaution, I like to always set my face, and I just also want to just give this a try. So what I'm going to be using is the RCMA No Color Powder to set my face, and yeah, we'll see how this sponge works with loose powder. Dip it in, but it really holds it on, so I don't. I'm nervous. We'll see how this goes. Okay. So, don't super dip it in. Okay, well, we're gonna blend this out though. It's blending out flawlessly though, my goodness. Okay, what I will say is that it did put the powder on pretty nicely. And I feel like it still looks pretty like flawless. And oh, my face feels so smooth right now. Oh my gosh. Wow. But I will say I don't know if I really prefer it with powders, just because I really prefer my duo fiber brush, because that really disperses the product around not too much and a lot more even, I feel like. Whereas this one, you can't really, like, if you dip it in the powder, these microfibers really hold on to the powder, and you can't like tap off the excess. There's really no way to kind of tap off the excess. Like, once it's in there, it's like in there. And as you saw my first impression putting that on, it was like bam. But it did blend in and blend all over everything really well, and like my skin feels so soft. It's weird. Like, I'm like blown away by this. So I think it gives a nice result, but I don't think I will continue to use this for powders. Just because, I don't know, I think I'd prefer, I feel like it's a little bit quicker with my dual fiber, and I like the way it spreads a little bit evenly. And I feel like, even though my skin feels really soft, I felt like as I was putting it on, it almost like the powder went on a little bit more cakey than the foundation did. And it doesn't look cakey at all, but it just almost feels a little bit heavier with this. And again, I think that's just due to the fact you can't really tap off the excess off. You really have to use what you put on your sponge. So I think in the future, if I did use this, or I would recommend, instead of just swiping it on like I did, just kind of tap some of the powder around your face, so you can kind of evenly distribute, you know, all the powder that's on here, instead of it being in one spot and then having to blend it all out. Distribute that powder a little bit better around your face, and it'll be a little bit, I think it'll work a little bit better, and you won't have to feel like you're using as much like in one spot or one area. But overall, I'm really impressed with this thing. So I think that wraps it up for the demonstration portion of this video. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my face off camera, just so this video doesn't get too long, and then I'll pop back in and share my final thoughts. Alright, beauty babes, I'm back, finished the rest of my face, and I'm here to wrap up this video and share my final thoughts with you guys. Is this gimmicky or great? I actually do think this is great. It's a very interesting concept. It is, I didn't know this right off the bat. I didn't know this when purchasing it. I didn't even know this when I was doing my demo, but I looked at the website again, which I should have just done this in the first place. I apologize that I wasn't fully prepared. Next time I will try to be more prepared for my videos. But it said, because I was noticing as I was applying makeup and using and things like that, that like I said, you don't need to use very much. It's not going to absorb product like a sponge would. It's also going to give you a softer, more airbrushed application than a brush would. So, you know, those of us who tend to prefer a sponge more than a brush, it's usually because the application is a lot more seamless, a lot more pretty, a lot more airbrushed. Those of us who prefer using a brush over a sponge are those who maybe like that you don't have to use as much product. Well, this one is like you get the best of both worlds. It's both of them. It's a brush and a sponge almost combined. It's like a brush and a sponge's baby kind of a thing. And the perk of it is that you use less product with it. Kind of similar to like the idea of everybody went wild over the silly sponge because you use up less product. But the thing is, that didn't really blend product in well. You know, you need something to really blend it into your skin and to somewhat absorb product. And while this does absorb a little bit of product, as you can see, it doesn't absorb it like a sponge would, or even that a brush would. So you're using a lot less product. You're getting a flawless look. At least I think. I mean, like I said in the demo, my skin's not flawless, so it's not gonna make me look perfect. But as far as the application is flawless. Like, I just think the application was beautiful. I'm so impressed with it now that I used it right. And I think it's a brilliant idea. I think that's what we're all kind of looking for, wanting to use less makeup and get a more flawless application where you're not seeing streaky lines or anything like that. So I actually do think it's a really great product. I'm definitely going to keep using it. I'm going to try to wash mine a little bit gentler. These are only $4. I think that's brilliant. You could also buy a bundle like I did. They have bundles where you can get 4 of these alone, or like the 2 and like another product kind of thing like I did. And I just think that's smart. I love when products are good and affordable. I mean, it's like win-win. So I do think this is great. I do think it's worth a shot. I'll have it linked below in the description box. And any other information I might have forgot. I feel like I'm kind of spacey because I was filming like 3 different videos all at the same time in a sense today. So my brain's a little bit like, I don't know. So hopefully all my thoughts made sense, and that this video and review and demo was helpful and you guys enjoyed it. I'd love to know if you've tried this microfiber sponge, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Did you like it? Was it gimmicky or great in your opinion? Or if you haven't tried it, I'd love to know if you're gonna try it, or again, if you think this is a gimmicky or great product too. Let me know. I want to hear from you. So with all that being said, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, much love and hugs to you. Bye, beauty babes. It says use it wet. Here's what it looks like wet. Such a dork. Oh my god.